Alan Menken, welcome to Movies and Musicals. I have been playing your songs on this show for over 25 years, so what a joy to have you with us. And what a joy that you're coming to Dublin. Have you been here before?
Yes, I've been there before, more on a vacation. I've never performed in Dublin before, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, you're going to be in a gorgeous venue in the Bord Gáis Energy Theatre. We're going to talk about the concert very shortly. I'm intrigued, though, about you literally being born to become a composer. The more I read about it, like you didn't like school, you immediately loved the piano, but you were immediately messing. I mean, your your music teacher was giving you stuff to play, but you wanted to do your own thing from a young age, right?
Yeah, that was, they called me, ADHD. They always have to put labels on things, and I guess ADHD was a label for what I was. I mean, my mother would have called it lazy, but but I just loved being at the piano. That's what really centered my brain and my heart. And school activities were like, all right, I'll suffer through this. But music and songs really focused me in a way that nothing else did.
As a matter of interest, when your piano teacher saw you doing your own thing, did she encourage it or did it annoy her? You know how piano teachers can be when they want you to play what's on the page.
Well, initially she was, I wouldn't say annoyed. I know she said to my parents, Alan's not learning the pieces. And they said, but he's playing beautifully for an hour. And I don't, he's not, whatever he's playing is not what he's apparently supposed to be learning. So they confronted me, and I said, well, I'm learning the beginning of the piece, and then I'm just making it my own. And the teacher said, okay, I think you should learn the piece, but also I think we should encourage this. And she was quite encouraging, which was great.
Yeah, so you got the best of both worlds in a way. Tell me about enrolling in the workshop in New York for musical theatre composers. How did you come across that, and what did you learn there?
Well, that was an exercise basically to appease my parents. Again, I was not a great student, either in high school or in college. I went in as a pre-med, and that lasted like a week. I was like, I don't want to do this. And I just found my way to the piano practice room, and I just wanted to write songs. And my parents said, well, if you really want to do this, we know this. We had a friend of the family who was a member of this workshop. The workshop was run very, very prestigious and I think legendary Broadway conductor named Lehman Engel, who was also a composer, but mostly somebody who studied the anatomy of musicals from the pit as he conducted shows. And he actually wrote many books about it and was an amazing personality and intellect. And he had this workshop at BMI. And so to appease my parents, especially because I wasn't going to graduate school, I said, well, take this workshop. So I joined the workshop. The very first day I met he was slightly older than me. He was a Yale music student named Maury Yeston. And Maury is the composer of Nine and Titanic, and we became very close friends. And that workshop was a nest, so to speak, or a launching pad for a lot of people's careers. And we would go in and basically work on projects and let the room just descend on them and tear them apart or praise them. But it was really learning the craft of songwriting in an amazing way. And that, of course, was songwriting especially for musicals.
What was the biggest thing you learned there, do you think?
Certainly, I found in writing for musical theater, and that came from the workshop, the most amazing opportunity to have my music coming through story, coming through characters' voices, the variety, the launching pad for those songs. And it wasn't just me sitting in the club singing about my latest relationship or how I'm feeling about the world. It was really something bigger than me. And there's something really wonderful about the craft of musicals having music and lyrics and book and all the forms that go through it, devoted to something bigger than all of us. And it's so satisfying. When I went into the workshop, I wanted to be Elton John or Billy Joel, or I wanted to be a singer-songwriter. And I went in, again, to appease my parents. And I really came out of that really finding it just to be the most amazing form to work in.
And as I say, you were born to do this, and you've had some incredible collaborators over the year. We can't talk about Alan Menken without mentioning Howard Ashman. You worked in those early years on Little Shop of Horrors, which actually was on here last summer in the theatre where you're going to be performing in the Bord Gáis Energy Theatre, and it went down a treat. It really did. But Howard Ashman, of course, sadly died at the age of 40 in just 1991. So anytime, we're talking about these musicals, it's of course tinged with sadness for us and of course for you. The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin. Can we begin with The Little Mermaid? Can you bring us back to that time? And maybe we'll actually hone in on the song Part of Your World. What are your memories of writing that with Howard?
Well, first of all, first came the concept and the basic outline of the story and how we were going to tell the story. But a big moment, of course, was meeting Ariel. And we're meeting Ariel under the sea. And there was that, what motif would really be expressed musically for the moving of the water. And so I just came up with... And that kind of stuck. That was a real starting off point for the score. And of course, the other was the decision to make it Caribbean in its basic locale. Because initially, Sebastian was going to be a stuffy English musical director, Crab. And Howard thought, I think there's pay dirt there in going to the Caribbean. First of all, because it's surrounded by water. At the time, reggae was just becoming so powerful. But really, Sebastian is more from Trinidad, so, rather than Jamaica. So it's more calypso. So you have themes like...
And as a matter of interest, Alan, does the music come first, say for Part of Your World? Did the music come first that Howard had the lyrics, or how did it work?
It was a marriage of both. I would play with themes, he would play with lyrical ideas. It was always in the room. And that's how it's been in almost every collaboration of mine since then. In the room, in the moment, both of us reacting in real time to each other's ideas and work.
With The Little Mermaid, though, it was also your first time to write an original score. Was that must have been daunting at the time, was it?
Very daunting. And it was Howard who really said, you have to do this. When we had done Little Shop of Horrors, I remember we were all the basic underscore for the scenes wasn't eligible for any Oscar consideration or Golden Globe because it was written for another medium. But that was most of the score. We had another film composer write the 8 minutes of adaptation music, and he was Little Shop of Horrors nominated for Best Score. I went, oh wow, oh Alan, no, it's not for you. It was for that composer. Now, of course, I'm not doing this solely for awards, but it did bring back home the idea that I really want my music and the music of the songs to be the connective tissue for the entire movie. And Howard felt very strongly that way.
I think often particularly with Disney composers, we can very much hone in on the songs, and it can be all about that. The fact that your 8 Oscars are 4 for songs, 4 for original scores is really quite something. 8 Oscars makes you the living person with the most Oscar wins, which is extraordinary. I mean, where do you keep all of these awards? It must be the awards cabinet must be about to fall over.
It's right there,
Yeah.
because I have my laptop wired. If I angle it, I'm afraid I may lose you. So I'm going to have you imagine They're all sitting up there.
Well, you and Howard Ashman with your songs, I mean, you managed to pull at the heartstrings. If we come to Beauty and the Beast, your Oscar award-winning song is so beautiful. We had Angela Lansbury on this show talking about it and talking about her relationship with you. I want to just go to Gaston, if you wouldn't mind, because also here on Saturday afternoons, this is the song that we play a lot and it gives us such a laugh. And I couldn't help thinking that, you know, after Howard Ashman writing the lyrics and you the melody, you would have been one of the first to read his incredibly witty lyrics. Can you bring us back to that?
Oh, absolutely. I I will never forget Howard putting that lyric in front of me starting to set it, and then just falling over laughing. I got to say, there's no experience for me like having a new Howard Ashman lyric put in front of me. And having that lyric put in front of me was enormously memorable.
Yeah, to stay with Howard for one more, I know the final song you wrote together was Prince Ali, and I wanted to ask you about what someone like Robin Williams brought to that song in terms of what you and Howard wrote and then what Robin did. Can you bring us back to in the studio? Was it madness?
Well, it was amazing. Robin brought Robin. I insisted with Friend Like Me and Prince Ali, I just wanted Robin to just learn the notes. And, basically the model for the song was a fat swaller, Well, actually, to be specific, Friend Like Me was kind of fat swaller. You ain't never had a friend like me. But also, Cab Calloway was kind of the model for Prince Ali, fabulous, Ali up. Both Harlem jazz, but different avenues of it. And I just wanted Robin to get that down, and he did. Robin, we plunked every note. Robin learned it. Robin did it our way, and then everyone said, "Alan, are you happy now?" I said, "I am." He said, "Good. Can we let Robin now just go?" And Robin just, whoa. They must have track after track after track after track of just these incredible improvisations, that Robin was doing, just going off with characters right and left.
So do you just sit back in studio and let him at it? Yeah.
It was unbelievable. I don't know if Disney can ever release those. I think there may be some contractual things that prevent it. just absolutely priceless. Yeah.
Aladdin, another big hit. This is very much as it's called now, the Renaissance of Disney. Tim Rice took over to write A Whole New World, which was the Oscar award-winning song that time for you. Can you bring us through that song a little bit, Alan?
Well, yeah. After Howard passed away, for a brief time, I thought, well, I guess I'll step in and write lyrics for some new songs and fill it in, because there was that day we called Black Friday. Black Friday was when we found out the decision had been made. It went from being a buddy picture to a romance, and Mom, Bye-Bye Mom, and Bye-Bye Proud of Your Boy, his sidekicks, Babcock, Amar, and Kasim, sorry, bye guys. So they went High Adventure and Babcock, Amar, and Kasim, and a bunch of other songs. And I was already also doing Newsies. I was also finishing the scoring of Beauty and the Beast. It was just too much. And the day came where Tom Schumacher, at that time head of animation, asked me to his office, and there was Tim Rice, and he said, "Would love to." I was thrilled to meet him because I'm a big fan of Tim's and Andrew's, and they suggested that Tim and I collaborate on the remaining songs, which was, of course, a dream. It was wonderful. There were 3 songs. There was a song for the Marketplace, which became One Jump Ahead. There was a song for Jafar, which wasn't used, called Why Me, which was a good song, but we didn't need it. And then was the Magic Carpet Ride song, which Howard and I had talked about that song, but we didn't. It was less of a romance at that point. And so I actually came to this studio right here. I think it was 4 a.m. I knew I was flying over. I wanted to send a FedEx package in advance with some pieces of music and maybe some dummy lyrics about how I envisioned maybe being structured lyrically. And And the dummy lyric I gave him was, "The world at my feet, da 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 da." And I get there, and Tim had written "A Whole New World." I thought that's probably smart, you know. I think,
Yeah. Can you give us a
maybe
little on the piano there?
the word "feet" might not be great for a love song. A whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. I want to tell us now where to go. Say we're only dreaming.
Beautiful. And an Oscar winner for you. It's interesting when you talk about songs being cut. You know, part of me feels that must be kind of tough. But when you mention Proud of Your Boy, of course, that was reinstated when Aladdin hit Broadway, right? So that must have been nice.
Songs being cut, I've learned over the years. Is it painful? It's constructive because the song can always come back. But I always tell young writers, don't ever fall in love with your own material. Let the audience fall in love with it, but you're going to write what works for the musical overall. And so we lost "Proud of Your Boy," and it was just this song that people would occasionally sing in auditions or something. And then came the time where we actually reinstated it. We put it onto as a re-release of Aladdin, and we had Clay Aiken come in, and we recorded it with full orchestra as a bonus track. And that was another moment where, you know, my musical director Michael Kauseran's hands go up, and the orchestra goes into this number that Howard and I had intended, and again, it just it tore me up, and it's so beautiful. That kind of these moments that traverse time, where you write a song now and it becomes this at this point, and then it becomes this. It's kind of like having your children go out in the world and they have their own lives, and the songs have their own lives.
Well, I'm delighted for our Movies and Musicals live concert, which is happening the night before you're in Bordgosh. We are including two of your songs, Alan. We're including A Whole New World. But I've also decided to include a song that you often name as your own personal favourite, and that's Out There from Hunchback of Notre Dame, which we're really looking forward to hearing. Why is that song so special for you?
Well, first of all, Hunchback was... I'm very proud of that score and the songs and the collaboration with Stephen Schwartz that I had on that. And that was, I think, the project where I think the world kind of went, oh man, the guy's won, Alan, you've won 10 Oscars and how many enough. And so in a way it got a little stiffed. And I maybe didn't get its due. And it also was, frankly, for the Disney canon, a very ambitious subject matter. I mean, songs like, Hellfire, and just the thematic material of Victor Hugo's novel. And so that song, it's also interesting because that song was one of the very few, I think it's happened twice in my life, where I simply wrote a piece of music, never intending it to be a song. And it ended up, it had to be that song. I had gotten, there was this, Yamaha made this instrument called the disclavier. And it's a real piano, but it would record what you played. And Stephen Schwartz and his wife Carol came over to our house for dinner. We were just starting working on Hunchback. And I said, oh, look at this new toy I got, this disclavier. And I said, oh, I had to, here, I actually played with this piece of music. Here, listen to this, just to show off this toy, or this piano. And Stephen said, that's our Quasimodo song. Out there. And it was like, gives me chills just saying that, but it's one of those things that came through,
Yeah.
fully formed. The other one was a song from My Christmas Carol that I actually ended up writing with Lynn Ahrens, and we played Madison Square Garden for a decade. But that experience was very unique, and out there, yes, it's very special to me.
Oh, we're looking forward to it. And I just want to ask you one more thing about yourself and Stephen Schwartz. To remind listeners, Stephen's doing all right at the moment with Wicked. He's the songwriter for Wicked. But you collaborated brilliantly, I thought, on Enchanted. There's so much fun in those songs, Alan. I mean, the way you looked at the older Disney songs and brought them through. Have you happy memories of composing those songs?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, the very first song Stephen and I wrote together was Colors of the Wind. So we knew we had a pretty good collaboration. And we have amazing history. That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Because, as I was finishing college, there was this kid who had just graduated from Carnegie Mellon, I think, named Stephen Schwartz, who was the Wunderkind. He had Godspell, and then he had Pippin, and we're going, who is this guy? Wow. I was very jealous. He had the magic show, and then he was working with Leonard Bernstein on his Mass, and we did meet in the interim along the way, and I liked Stephen very much. But then came when I was working on Pocahontas, time to look for a new lyricist, and I didn't think of Stephen until someone said, well, Stephen just did the lyrics for a musical called Rags, with the music by Charles Strauss. And I said, I wonder if Stephen would want to collaborate. And Stephen actually was at a point where he was thinking of leaving the business and becoming a psychotherapist.
Wow.
Because there was, I think, working, and Baker's wife maybe hadn't done quite as well, whatever. And I said, could you delay your retirement or moving on? He said, oh yeah. So it was, I think it was a lifeline for him. And of course he's made great use of it.
Yeah, he's been okay, as we say.
Yeah, but we wrote Pocahontas and Hunchback of Notre Dame and Enchanted and Disenchanted.
Again, you're such a wonderful singer with Amy Adams. That must have been glorious to hear her sing your songs, right?
Oh, I love Amy. Yeah, it was amazing working with Amy.
There are a lot of people here who listen on Saturday afternoons who are doing their housework while listening to the radio, while listening to movies and musicals, and they often request, what song from Enchanted. Yeah, that's the one. Helps them along.
Little friends, as they all sing a happy working song.
That's the one. So you're helping people along with their chores, just so you know. Our time is nearly up, Alan, so do tell us about your concert in Dublin. What can we expect?
Well, the concert is a great thing for me because it is the one place where I can bring the music from Disney, but also the music from Little Shop of Horrors, or the music from Sister Act, or Bronx Tale, or Gallivant, or all these different streams into one place. So it is kind of me inviting people into my studio, so to speak, on the stage, playing songs and stepping forward and just talking about the stories behind the songs. And I enjoy doing it, and audiences seem to really enjoy it. And yeah, it's wonderful to be able to bring those things together into an evening where it's not just, it's Disney music. Not that I don't love Disney music, but it's for that one evening. It's Menken music.
Yeah. So this is your first time in front of an Irish audience.
Yeah.
You know they're the best, right? Have you heard?
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
We cannot wait to.
Please come.
Oh, we can't wait.
I hope people will come and see it. I'll be looking.
Of course we will. Of course we will. We're so thrilled you're coming, and we're so thrilled you've taken time out to talk to us on movies and musicals this afternoon. Alan Menken, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.